Good morning. Welcome to our live talk program. This is Lloyd Grove here, your host on Revive Reform Radio, doing our live talk program covering this morning here Wisdom for Living on your Friday morning rise and shine. And this morning here, we're looking at a topic, there is a way that seem right unto a man. So there is a way that seem right unto a man, or seemeth right unto a man. And this is what we're looking at here this morning from Proverbs chapter 16, verse 25. There's a way that seem right unto a man, and as you know the rest of that, but the end thereof is the way of death. So this is what we're looking at here this morning on our Wednesday morning rise and shine. And hopefully you had a blessed night rest and you're ready to take on today, this day that the Lord has given to you. And we'll begin with a short prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, we thank you again for your love. We thank you for the blessings of your spirit and your word and the experiences of life. I pray, the Lord, that you may bless us as we contemplate these things that are happening in our world and in our lives. And may, dear Lord, we make the best decisions, dear Lord, for our well-being and our salvation. Be with us as we meditate this morning for Christ's sake. Amen. So this morning again, we're looking at Proverbs chapter 16, verse 25. And our topic is, there is a way that seem right unto a man. The way might seem right, but it's not right. And this is often, as the Bible explains, that is the way that lead unto death. And we don't want to have this experience. We want to have experience that leads to life. And so we come to the word and we ask for help from our God to be able to lead us into a path of righteousness. And so this is what we want here. And so the background question I'm asking myself, or the thought that is in my mind as I look at this morning, is how does a person get trapped into a destructive lifestyle? How does a person get trapped? How does a person get into a lifestyle where they can't get out? So this is where my alternative topic, or what's on my mind. As I contemplate this thing, there's many lifestyle choices that we make, many things that we do that we end up becoming trapped into it, so to speak. We can't get out of the lifestyle. We can't break the cycle, and it often leads to our death. So how does a person get into this lifestyle trap, lifestyle problem where they're sunk into a place there they can't get out? It's like a pit. So how does this happen? Now in Proverbs chapter 16, verse 25, I'll read it there for you one time. It's only one verse here we're going to look at. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. So the end thereof are the ways of death, ways plural. It end up leading to paths that wherever the person go, whatever they're trying to do, it's not leading anywhere but to a downward path. And this is a problem where when it comes on to our lifestyle choices, it gets us into places that we will try to get out of the situation in multiple ways. And no matter how we try to get out of the situation, the end result of our choice, our way that we think will that seem right to us, will get us into a situation that we will spend years trying to unravel, trying to fix, trying to get right. And the more we try to seem like it's, the deeper we dig ourselves. And I think reason why is because we are moving in a path that we become vested in, have a vested interest in the lifestyle choice. And so we're trying to do everything to maintain the choice. But everything that we do, every path that we take, every move that we make, it just digs us deeper in, and we become even more invested. So people come up with very creative ways to sustain and to exist in a life that is very much leading to death. So this is where my contemplation will go, and when you will think with me here, because the question again, how does a person get into a trap, or into a get trapped into a destructive lifestyle? How does this happen? And as I say, this is to me is the most difficult thing, because most of the time when you talk about the gospel and you talk about preaching the gospel, when a person hears the gospel, many times the person will be moved by the presentation of the gospel or reading the gospel, and they want to give up their past life, they want to give up their sins. But this becomes now a more daunting task than they originally thought, because the lifestyle is so entrenched and is so deep that it becomes very difficult to let go of that lifestyle. So the way that seemed right to a man is even more difficult than most people think. Because many people, after they've joined the church, they join the church on fire. They say they're going to follow Jesus and they're on fire. And years later, you see they go back into their old ways. And next, many people just drop right out of the church. And the reason why is because they have gotten back into their old lifestyle, because they never really fully shaked it off. And so it often leads to destruction. So it's very difficult. As you know, the story with when the children of Israel came out of Egypt, their struggle was in front of them. The fate that they needed to walk away from Egypt, which represents sin, was immense. Crossing the Red Sea, responding to all those disasters and those plagues that were falling. But what tripped them up in the wilderness was their lifestyle. The lifestyle is always what gets people, because the lifestyle is more ingrained because it's habit. It is something that is an habitual practice, and it's also genetics, something that's been passed down in the blood. So when you have a problem with this type of thing, you could go through an experience similar to the crossing of the Red Sea and still fall prey to your lifestyle. And you see this all the time, where people on fire get baptized, they say, I walk away from the world. And then slowly, the old life and the genetics creep up and catches them. And so lifestyle is what is there. And sometimes the lifestyle is very rubbish. It's just very foolish. But yet this person can't break from that lifestyle. And this is why the Bible uses word, or the translators use this word. There's a way that seemeth. It seemeth right unto a man. And even when, after a person been walking with Lord for years, they'll come upon Bible passages, they'll come upon their conscience, will prick them, and they will say, this way that you're going is not right. But in their mind, I don't see the big deal, because this seem right unto me. But the end thereof are the ways of death. Multiple ways it's going to trip them up that they can't even foresee. And you've experienced it, I've experienced it, where you just can't foresee sometimes how choices and lifestyle choices you make, how difficult it is to shake. Years later in the church, and a person can break certain bad habits, can break habits of of substance abuse, can't break habits of lying and stealing and just being a two-faced, double-tongued person, fork-tongued person. Very difficult habits because it's been practiced for so long. And when the person got baptized, they probably were just getting baptized because they accept the truth. And then all of a sudden they realize, yeah, I've accepted the truth, but now truth has to become part of me, and I've lived a lie all my life. So there's a way that seemeth right unto a man. Now in Proverbs chapter 1, the way the book starts out, the book of Proverbs, and I'll come back to this text often because it speaks of this idea. Because most of the time, the way that seemeth right is things that we were trained when we were children, or develop our habits, our attitudes, or whatever it is we developed when we got older. So normally both things, as we got older in life, coming out of our single digits into our double digits, we started to pick up these habits or these behaviors. Now, here the Bible speaks of something kind of different, which is where I'm going to go for the rest of my meditation. Now, in Proverbs 1 verse 7 and through 10, it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, and fools despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. For they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. My son, if sinner entice thee, consent not. Now the scenario here that is going to put forth is a scenario that the sinner entice you, and as they entice you to do crimes to be able to get a certain lifestyle. This is important and become more increasingly important when you're younger, especially as a person coming out of their teens, going into their 20s. It's an enticing time when they're enticed by the lifestyle that can be gained by making choices to become, say, a musician, a secular musician, to become a con man, to do gambling, to sell drugs, to get into phony business deals. All these things are things that are enticing things when a young person coming up into life. And so here it says, my son, young person, consider well what you do, because whatever you do is going to be part of your lifestyle. And breaking that lifestyle is not going to be easy. There's many things that we struggle with. It could be a simple thing as attitude. We just have a bad attitude, and it makes our life a mess because it makes us hurt others and cause a lot of pain, emotional pain to others. And it's so difficult to break. And many of these things were developed, as I say, in our parents' home. We developed it on our own as we got older. But this is part of the experience. And so he says here, it's part of it is the enticing. Notice that he says here, if sinners entice thee, it is normally an enticing thing. A person that has a bad habit with substance is normally either they entice themselves or somebody entice them. Could even be literally their parents. But the end result is that you're enticed, but the long-term result of that is that most people die with their bad habits. I don't know if you know that. 97% of people never overcome their habits of drugs, alcohol, having a bad mind, being a gossiper, being a liar, being a thief. People die with these things, even if they don't practice it hard when they get older. As they get older, it dies with them and it stays with them. It's just that often life has beaten them so bad that as they get older, they just pull back or they don't practice it at all. But they never really overcome it. And so here, especially, the Bible says, be careful of this, because the end result is not going to be good. And we read that in verse 18 through 26. It says here, and they lay wait for their own blood. They lurk privily for their own lives. So you would think that a person is being enticed, is laying wait for the blood of the people that they're trying to rob or steal or kill. But yet the Bible simply says they're waiting for their own blood. See, a person that gets into certain traps of life, certain bad way of thinking, because it's normally the way that seems right. It's a thought that is first happening. It's not the practice. It's the flip with the salvation. Salvation is similar. You're saved first in your mind. It's a thought that saves the person. Same thing with when human being fell into sin. It's the thought. And so when the sinners entice you, normally it's the thought. You either see somebody have something, you want what they have, or the person sell you it. They verbally sell you it. And as they sell you the idea, then you buy into it and then you move along with the actions. And so when the sinners entice you, but the person is lurking. Whatever they're doing it, they're thinking they're trying to profit off somebody else, downfall or pain. But all they're doing is they're being enticed into a certain lifestyle for their own destruction. They're waiting privately. They're sneaky, but they're sneaky for their own damnation. Have you ever dealt with somebody that is very sneaky? Normally they say, I'm sure you heard it saying before, that silent river runs deep. Normally if you see a river and it looks very quiet, it's not choppy, it's just moving along smoothly. Normally you say, oh man, that must be a very deep river, because it's so deep that there's hardly any action at the top of the river. But normally you go by a stream or a babbling brook, it makes a lot of noise because there's a lot of stone and it's not very deep. So it's just easy for it to make noise. Okay, you can see the bottom. But when it's normally silent, it's moving along, you can't tell. So it is with people who are sneaky. They're very like a cat. And they're very sneaky, and then they just pounce. And normally catch you off guard because they were quiet and they're always in the back, but they're waiting in the back to go cut somebody's throat. But the Bible said they're waiting privately for their own destruction. So you think about that, right? And you think about that reality. So here it says that they lurk. Normally this is like a cat. That's why you always have to refer to some people like they're cats, because they're there hunting, but really in life they're hunting for their own. So are they that So are the ways of everyone that is greedy for gain, which taketh away the life of the owner. Right. So this is the way of those that um they're taking the life of the owner. So it continues here. So wisdom cried, and she uttered her voice in the street. She cried in the chief place of the concourse, in the opening of the gates. In the city she uttered her words, saying, How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity, and scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge? Turn ye at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit up unto you. I will make known my words unto you. Because I have called and you refused. I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. But ye have set at naught my counsel, and would none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity, and I will mock when your fear cometh. So here the Bible says that the reality of life is that there are circumstances, there's people that will be put in your life, there is situation that will be telling you, turn from the way you're going, because the way you're going is not going to end up pretty. And as the person is receiving or hearing this type of counsel, telling them, turn, don't go down that path is a way that's going to lead to death. Their parents will talk to them, their friends will talk to them, bad situation will happen, to tell them, turn back, don't go. They keep pushing forward because, remember, it's a way that seems right to them. And they don't see the destructive end. So when their fear come, and when their calamity come, God has given them sufficient warning. When they see that they're doing things that's causing others pain, and they keep pushing forward and ignore the pain that they're causing others, when their pain come, when their suffering come, the Bible says, I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. So this is the reality of life, because again, often it's a joke. You're talking to some people, they'll take it as a joke. You warn them, they take it as a joke because it's something about human nature. And we all can get into this situation that would take light. We even make light at times of what people are saying. Say for instance, you deal with a young man and he's hard, because this is talking about a young man here, and he's hard. And you're talking, hey, live the clean life. They say, you wimp, you weak, because we hard. And they be the hard ones. And they live in the hard life. And what happened when the calamity come, you're like, I thought you were hard, man. But the reality of life is that you flesh and blood like me. I just have made a decision that I don't like to be shot and to be chopped up and stabbed. At least not because I'm doing wrong. If I'm happen to me because I'm preaching the gospel, well, so be it. But I don't want to be hard because I'm trying to give people a hard life. And many people are giving people a very hard life. But really what they're doing, they're making this text, Proverbs chapter 16, verse 25, again, become a reality. Because the harder the life, the harder you live life, and the tougher you are. And when you give it to people, it will be given back to you. Remember, the Bible is very clear that the same measure that you measure to others will be measured back to you. So if you're giving people a lot of bad times, you're hurting people, you're robbing people, you're stealing from people, you're just doing people bad, you're leading people by astray, you're conning people out of money. Well, whatever you give in this life, it comes back to you. And that's the reality. And so that's why there's a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. So keep that in mind. I have two articles that I want to share with you. Two articles that probably is off my beaten path here, but I want to share them with you. I want to share them with you because it's just interesting. It kind of speaks to the reality of this idea here, where it talks about a young man or young men who are going on a certain path, and the end thereof is just death and bloodshed. So this is an article from USA Today, and it's about a rapper who recently got shot up in California, I think it is. and in Los Angeles. And this is somebody that I don't know anything about. I never hear his music or anything like that. But I just saw the piece in the newspaper a few weeks back, at the end of September, and I said, okay, I think I'll cover this, or the beginning, end of September, beginning of October, somewhere there. And I said I wanted to cover this, and then this was the appropriate conversation to have this type of thing, because this is part of what happened. Because we just want to take this thing that I don't know this person all his life. His name is Young Dolph, Dolph, Dolph. So Young Dolph is his name, is his rap name. Later on, the article will give his real name. His real name is, I guess, his Adolph Thornton Jr. So his father is, I guess, senior. And he here was shot up, but it seemed like he was shot up more than once. This is not the first time he's been shot up, but here he's living this lifestyle. And as you know, my opinion on a lot of this destructive music, like rap music, is that it part of the big problem in the society in general, and primarily in the black society, black community, African American community, because what it is, it perpetuate a certain mindset basically is enthroned, enshrined, and worshipped by this music, and this music perpetuate the failure in the society in general, because as you know, probably the largest consumers of rap music is whites, but in a real way, the people who live out the music probably the most, in my opinion, or for what I observe, is in the black community. And it's part of why the black community has so much problem moving forward, is one of the reasons, and probably one of the bigger reasons, because the music indoctrinates the young men into thinking in a way that seemeth right, but the end thereof is destructive. So the way, because they're being indoctrinated, when a person have on an earphone, like what I have on now, and literally this earphone I have on now is a studio earphone, ironically enough, and it's so huge that I would not wear it outside of the house, outside of this room that I'm in here that I use as my studio or my office, because it's so big. But I see people walking around with these type of things, and these type of things are absolutely things to blow your eardrums if you turn it up. But these guys will walk around. These guys will walk around daily with this type of stuff on their ears. But they're hearing music. But the bigger thing they're hearing is a lifestyle being taught them. And as they learn this lifestyle in their ears, they live it out, because whatever a person think, that's what they live by. Whatever they believe is what they live by. So they hear this crazy music, and this music is not so much the music and the beat, but it's the words, and the words is what condemn us, or the words is what justify us. So they're hearing this music, and then they're living the music, and the music is very destructive, and especially very demeaning to themselves and to women especially. And this is why you find just a low marriage rate in the black community, probably only 30% or so. And so I blame the music. So now this person called Young Dolph, now just kind of giving you some background, would be, in my estimation, the master of ceremony. They normally call him MC, but I use it in the real way of the word is mean. He's the guy that is in charge of make you happy, to make you feel like he's the head of the system, because he has. If I go to a party and say he's performing. Sorry dear. So if I go to a party and he's performing, he's supposed to make me feel good and make me feel that he believes in what he's saying. Because the words, especially with rap music, is supposed to be the rapper, because he's supposed to be rapping about his lifestyle. So to me, what I'm reading here is truly the way that seemeth right unto a man, because this is his way, the way he seemeth. And we're going to read about the results that he's living and the results that will follow. So here we go. So Young Dolph shooting. 911 tape from attack on Memphis rapper leaked. So a 911 tape for the last week shooting of rapper Young Dolph. So similar like Adolf Hitler. So Young Dolph has been leaked. The LAPD did not The LAPD did not officially release the audio. Officer Rosero Herrera tells USA Today. The audio was first posted at TMZ earlier this week. The 32-year-old Memphis rapper, whose real name is Adolph Thornton Jr., was shot multiple times on Tuesday afternoon outside the Lowe's Hollywood hotel. He then dragged himself into a nearby retail store, Shoe Palace, where the manager called 911 and struggled to provide details about the incident. Dolph was confronted by three men, leading to a physical fight. LAPD Megan Aguilar told USA Today Network following the incident. She said that one of the men pulled out a gun and shot him multiple times. That night, he was listed as being in critical but stable condition. Dolph returned to Twitter early Sunday morning with a parade of dolphin emojis, but has not commented on his condition directly. Corey McClendon, a friend of rival rapper Yo Gotti, so Gotti, Yo Gotti, I don't know if you mean Young Gotti, was booked in the early hours of Wednesday and held for 48 hours on the attempt murder charges, charged before being released Friday afternoon. Under California law, if you are arrested and booked and no charges are filed within 48 hours, you have to be released. Greg Arislin, a spokesman for the Los Angeles District Attorney Office, told USA Today following McClendon's release. He said police must gather further evidence and come back to us with a case, and then the district attorney will provide whether to file charges. The investigation remained ongoing. No charge has been filed. Investigators refuse to say whether they have video of the shooting and refuse to discuss whether Yo Gotti is a suspect in the case. McClendon is a known associate of the rapper, real name Mario Mims, whose Rake It Up featuring Nicki Minaj is currently number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. The feud between Young Dolph and Yo Gotti dates back to 2004 when Dolph claimed he turned down an invitation to join Gotti's record label. It flared up in February of this year when Dolph referred to his rival as Ho Gotti in a diss track. Later that month, Dolph was shot out while in tour in Charlotte, I guess North Carolina, but escaped his bulletproof car unharmed. So here's this rapper that this person called Adolph, and I guess he associated the name with dolphins, but it's more probably with Adolf Hitler. But he have to travel in a bulletproof vehicle to be able to live from day to day because there's people who want to shoot at him and recently had shot at him. But he escaped unharmed early this year. This time they got him outside of his vehicle and they put a few bullets in him and he's in critical but stable condition. And this is a lifestyle. So when you think about it, there's a way that seems right unto a man. So when I think about this idea of a way that seems right unto a man, that how does a person get to a point where this becomes normal life and this becomes the life that's worth living? This becomes something that you aspire to. This becomes something that you want to do. And I think part of it is because it becomes all encompassing. It becomes just what they surround themselves with. Because if you surround yourself with something that is seemingly normal, and this is especially true when it comes to culture, that everybody in the culture or the majority in the culture live in a certain way, you tend to think that this must be the right way. So the way that seems right unto a man is often a way that others around you think, or you surround yourself with others that are like-minded. Because just think about the lifestyle that they're living. And if they would go around, some people say in Pennsylvania or Ohio that are like Amish, and they go around the Amish, it would seem weird. It would just seem not normal because the Amish is living a different culture and a different lifestyle, even though they're in America. And these guys over here live in a different culture and a different lifestyle. And what makes a difference is basically what they surround themselves with and the mindset of the people. And so a person could be in such a mindset that in their mind, this is normal life. This is how we're supposed to live. This is how we're supposed to live. And if they would come around somebody like myself, and by God's grace yourself, they would look at us and we would be strange to them because their lifestyle and our lifestyle would be so different. But their lifestyle seem right to them and our lifestyle seem right to us. The question is, where does the end product? See, because the end is the issue. You see, you and I, we all could have different modes of living and different things that we do normal. And we say, this is normal. This is what normal is. But if the normal leads to death, then that's where the problems start. So here, first article, I have a second article I want to share on this thing. Just to see how a person could get up and say you get up this morning and your primary concern is making it to work, getting some work done, and doing what you have to do to prepare yourself, say for the upcoming Sabbath or whatever you're doing today. That's your focus. Your focus is just work, taking care of family. Another person wake up and their focus is that they're the man. They're hard. The king of Memphis, as I'm going to read to you here in a second. And this is their lifestyle. Their lifestyle is that they're going to live large. And they're not just to live and to enjoy some life. They just want you to know they're the toughest, baddest guy, and they're hard. But hard life comes with hard bullets. And bullets are harder than bone and flesh. And that's the life. So this is now taken back now. Again, just peering into this world. It's a crazy world that these young men are living. And how their lives the young men are living here in a certain way. So I'll try to address it in a second. So Yo Gotti and Young Dolph feud between Memphis rappers run deep. So these two men are from Memphis. This is written from Memphis, Tennessee. Same article here, another article here from USA Today. Just trying to take back into what's going on in this world and why it's so destructive. The relationship between rapper Yo Gotti and Young Dolph and the tension between the two artists have been a major storyline in Memphis hip-hop for a better part of the past 3 years. Dolph, whose real name again is Adolph Thornton, very interesting name, was shot in Los Angeles outside the Lowe's Hollywood hotel on Tuesday. Subsequent media reports suggest the incident was somehow the result of a long-running musical and personal feud. Another rapper, Memphis MC, Yo Gotti, real name Mario Mims. The Los Angeles Police Department had twice denied to the commercial appeal that Gotti, who was staying at the same hotel as Dolph, is a person of interest in the investigation. On Wednesday, Corey McClendon of Memphis was arrested and charged with attempted murder. Police said that they do not know if McClendon and Gotti are associates. However, McClendon and Gotti were both arrested in 2010 after 5 people were shot in the parking lot of Level 2 nightclub in Memphis. The charge against Gotti were dropped in 2010 brawl due to lack of witness. McClendon was shot during the brawl. In Tuesday's shooting, Dolph was critically injured, but is expected to survive. It's the second time he's been shot this year. In February, he was fired at in Charlotte, North Carolina. Gotti associate Black Youngster, real name Sammy Benson, was among the men charged in the incident. Though it's never been confirmed, both parties anyway, the roots of the feud link back between 2014 when Dolph, then just emerging as a mixtape artist, began saying publicly that he turned down an offer to join Gotti at CMG record label. Still, the Dolph Gotti beef remained in a background issue as Gotti's star began to rise. Gotti, who got his start in the mid-1990s as one of the city's quintessential street rapper, released the breakout LP, The Art of Hustle, in 2016. So remember, the art of hustling they're talking about is primarily probably selling drugs or pimping women, right? So just talk about the lifestyle, how the lifestyle is destructive, but it is just how these young black men live and indoctrinate themselves. In its debut at number 4 on the Billboard album chart, hit number 1 in the R&B hip hop chart, and quickly proved a breakthrough for the veteran MC. The album would go on to spawn top 5 rap and top 20 pop single in down in the DM that being certified platinum. The record also earned and support his peers from Lil Wayne to Pusha T, who guest on the project, to Kanye West, who performed with Gotti during a release party in Los Angeles. In the winter of 2016, Dolph again alluded to Gotti and his decision to sign at CMG. And let's see if I can just quickly go through. I'm going to skip 1 or 2 things here because this is just some unnecessary information in my mind. So because I read this already, I'll just tell you where it's at. So basically, Gotti, this guy here, is an older guy. He's probably about 40 or something like that. And basically, he himself has gotten into problems where they had a brawl before, not with the same guy that they shoot up this time, and they had shot about 5 people. Then when they shoot up in February, this guy called Young Dolph, they shot up his car. He had a bulletproof car because people were trying to kill him. So he had a bulletproof car, and they shot at him about 100 times, but they didn't kill him. He got away, and he lived to perform. So they have this ongoing rap problem, and the stemming from it is that both of them are from Memphis, and both of them are trying to vie to be the best or the biggest or the number one in the city. And all of this is supposed to be able to make a lot of money, because remember, the aim of all of this is that they want to become rich, famous, have lots of women that they can sleep with, and basically have a lot of material possession. That's the aim. But this is not via working hard and doing a job that is a service to humanity. This is primarily so that they can live a very carnal, worldly lifestyle. So this is the aim of this type of lifestyle. But the lifestyle continues because the music promotes it. It's like, with rock and roll, they call it sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Where rap is basically the primary thing is the guy live large. The women he has around him, they're normally referred to and treated as hoes. So they're just used as something to sleep with. And this is the primary music of black society, black secular society. And this is one of the reasons why I think the society can't move forward. And the reason why, because if you have something that a person listens to as their main form of entertainment, but their main form of entertainment is something that does not lead to productivity because it does not promote productivity. It promotes a worthless, failing lifestyle. Then it's going to be difficult for the person that's listening to that to be productive. Because how can you be productive if the thing that you're listening to and the thing that makes you happy, the thing that brings you joy, is something that leads for you to live and to promote ideas of a worthless lifestyle? It would never work. And so that's why the Bible says a way that seems right. Because you think about it, how many of these young men that you would ever run into that would not think that the ways of this lifestyle is right? And if you're listening to that, even if today you don't think the ways of a worthless lifestyle is right, tomorrow you're going to believe that. Or in your life, you're going to practice it because it's what you're listening to. If you listen to somebody every day singing in your ears and you feel great and you're bopping to that music, and the music is telling you that all the females you see around, they're hoes, and you need to hustle, if it means selling drugs, pimping the same females, then you can understand why so many of these young men grow up, and they grow up without fathers in their home, and they end up growing up to become adults, to become the same type of person their father was to them. And then they go now and sing and glorify the lifestyle that made them worthless or made them have a hard life that leave them with mental distress. So they go now and sing about that lifestyle and encourage other young men to perpetrate the same evil that was done to them. So it becomes like a circle of firing squad. Each person just taking out the other person. But to each person, there's a way that seems right, but the end of that way is death. The end of the way is destruction. And that's the problem that's going on. And as I say, the problem is so entrenched because you think about it, it's a young man is coming up. His mother is a single parent. For that young man, he's going to have some real tough struggles. He doesn't have a male figure in his life. And he probably is a child of a mother that has multiple children from multiple men. And so his mother basically was used and abused by these men and treated like a hoe, treated like a no good female. So he comes up now and he has to suffer because of what these men did to his mom. Then he comes up and he starts to sing about this lifestyle and he started to glorify it. He started to glorify the results of this lifestyle because the result of the lifestyle is basically the lifestyle that he live. The thing that he's going to say, well, I have to sing about the hustle. I have to sing about the hard knocks. But now you're singing about something and you're saying you're just basically doing social commentary, but you're social commentating on something that is destructive. That is something that you should turn you away from. You should basically reject because it was not something that was positive. It's not something that you say, well, I'm going to sing this song, make some money, and I'm going to take care of my mother. But in order to do that now, you're going to have to demoralize and glorify a lifestyle. Demoralize some young men, glorify a lifestyle. So you demoralize some young men, glorify a lifestyle that is going to cause those same young men to do what your father did to your mother and create a whole bunch of young girls that are whores. And then now, and even pimp out some of them. And then now take that money and say, I'm going to buy my mother a house. I'm going to buy my mother a car. Because I'm going to take care of her because my father didn't take care of her. But the means of taking care of her is the way of death. Because those means will create more AIDS in the community, more pimps, more drug pushers, more high school dropouts, more everything that is destructive, and less married family, men and women, less stable homes for young kids to grow up with, more perpetuating and continuing of the ghettos. More of that will be created. And so the music is not only demeaning, but the music is destructive because it's glorifying something that we need to say, you know, and I don't want to be part of that. I'm sorry. I wish I never grew up like that. And I don't want my kids to grow up like that. And I don't want even to say anything positive about that. The struggle is not supposed to be repeated. That struggle needs to be stopped. And so to me, here's a whole genre of music that, though it might be, they will say it's melodical, it's artistry, it's rhyming, it's all that. It needs to die because it is not creating no positive good. I cannot see the good of it. The existence of it, it is not worth it. There's nobody that is glorified in that society. Whether it be, remember when I used to listen to that music, and it was the glorification of Tupac or Biggie Smalls and all these people that got shot and killed or died of AIDS. And then the ones that lived through that and came up with a lot of STDs and a lot of people around them that want to kill them themselves. I don't see the part of that. It is a total worthlessness because it's a way that seems right, but the end thereof is nothing good. Until you keep, I think about it, so much of these young men, even that's catching AIDS now, are young men that grew up in single parent home, single mother home. And they grew up, even though they grew up to listen to the hard music and be thuggish, but they grew up to like what their mom like. If the mom like men, they like men. Because that's all they saw around them, because they didn't have no male figure. This is not something that we want to perpetuate or want to promote. For people to talk about females and treat females a certain way, for people to live a life where instead of focusing on getting a career and putting all their energies into getting careers, some of these young men, they probably would do so well if they had made an effort just to be a carpenter, to be a bus driver, to be a doctor, to be a lawyer, they would have succeeded, because you can tell many times that they have a brain. The type of stuff that they come up with and the type of rhymes that they create and their ability to memorize stuff is phenomenal. Because I'm not a good memory person, so I can recognize a person that has memory to be able to spit bars and spit it over and over again and remember great lines. You say, well, they have a brain, but they've been told that, hey, look, you can get into this business, you can make some quick money, and within quick time, you can have some nice cars. You'll be able to have some nice crib. You'll be able to have a lot of the nicest looking black and white female to use and abuse night after night, without even have to sleep with one of them, more than once a year. And you can live that life. You can have all the hoes in the society, or you can turn young girls who are just looking for love, or some of them just looking for fun. You can turn them into worthless women. You can get them pregnant and have them have to struggle through, because sooner or later you're going to get broke or you're going to get shot. And there's going to be no money to take care of those kids. And all the kids are going to be taken care of by the society. You can create all that. And it might seem right, because to a young man, what? You're telling me that I could sleep with all these girls in town? It's great. And I'll have to just sing some sick rhymes that I don't even believe in. And it will work great for me. And a lot of young men will jump for that. They'll spring for that opportunity, because they know they'll be able to do all of that. Now, one of the things I've been noticing here that is following this type of society, and it's been coming in the news. If you've been following what's going on in the general news, you'll find that there've been like a lot of artists, not just rap artists, but rock and roll artists, and various different performers, especially in the comedian genre, people who are comedians, who are very depressed, who have bouts of depression that either they kill themselves or they want to kill themselves, or they're very disillusioned with life. Because think about what the problem is. Here's a person singing about something that they hate, that made their life a mess. So you go up there, you're going to sing about how you treat all these women, but you know your mother was a hoe. You know your mother was just used and abused by these men. Whether or not she has a hoe mindset or a whore mindset, you just know that she was abused by all these men. All these men just ran through her and left her. And some of them left her with kids and never took care of the kids. And probably you're one of them. And now you're going, and in order for you to make money, you have to stand there in front of a crowd of people cheering you on and feel great about you, singing about stuff that makes you depressed, because you know you're sensible. And that's the other thing too. You'll be surprised that if you sit down and listen to an interview of some of these guys, some of them, you find out some of them are very sensible. They're not as dumb as the music they sing and the lifestyle they live and promote. So you're living a lifestyle that's a lie. And you know it's a lie, because you know that says it's not bed of roses. You know that the more you sing that type of music and the more you promote that lifestyle, the more you have dirty people around you. You're going to get the most filthy girls in town. You're going to get the most crooked men around you. And they're going to just come at you and come at you hard, because they're worthless as ever. Because that's what you're attracting. But you know in your heart, especially some of them, you listen to them, you find out that they used to go to church. The weird thing, you find some of them, even their parents, their father were ministers in church. That's the weirdest ones. So they're singing this music and live this lifestyle, but it makes them depressed. Because they're depressed over it, because they're promoting something that they know inside from an internal moral compass they know is wicked and destructive. But it makes them a lot of money. And they have sold out and sell their soul to be able to make a lot of money and to be able to live this lifestyle. So it makes them depressed. And you can go check this out if you want to look at this type of stuff here, to see that there's no other way but the way to follow Christ. And you will see that many of these young men who does this type of stuff, they have some serious mental battles, because they're promoting a lifestyle that they're not really living. It's a facade. It's an act. You can see why many of these comedians, they kill themselves. They're very depressed. I remember when I was born, before, when I was really young, there was this guy called Dan. It's a S, like Sheldon or something. I can't remember his name exactly, but he was the guy that used to do this party, this black dancing program. and all of a sudden I forget the name of it. But anyhow, it's just that black dancing program where people dance like in a straight line, and different people, couples will come out and dance and stuff like that. And it's something I never really watched or saw. Just something I saw later on, and I realized it was like a black icon. But he had shot himself in the head a few years ago. Because you know what it is that you're living a lie because you live in a fake lifestyle. And you know you've hurt a lot of people along the way. There's a lot of guilt. You know, you've used, abused, lie. Because you know when men sleep around, men have to lie to sleep around. You find a guy that sleep around is a guy that's lie. He just tells lies, just crooked and con, because he has to sell these people. Some of these women, they're just there for fun, so they don't care. They want to use you and they want to abuse you just the same way. But many of these people, they're shell shocked. They having crushes and all kind of stuff like that, and they like, I'll do anything for you. They believe, and these guys know, yeah, these women believe, and they just lie, you know, and then that leaves the people, persons with a lot of guilt, because they just have to lie. But what they're there for is just the sex, and then they move on. But sometimes these young girls get pregnant, and so you go into the community now. It's very difficult. I would say, I believe it would be very difficult to basically encourage in the black community a very a lifestyle where there's a monogamous relationship, while people, young men especially, are listening to this type of music, because the way in the music seem right, it sounds right, it sounds so happy because it beats so nice and make you feel nice, but the things that they're saying is destructive, the thinking. And so you say, how are you going to bridge this? Because you can't. I've thought about this, and if you know, I'd like you to contact me. If you know, you've think about this in your mind, that it's possible, even Christian rap, it's possible for a person to listen to rap music and maintain a moral lifestyle, and maintain a lifestyle that they're celibate, whether male or female. It's even possible for a female to listen to this lifestyle and for her not to be mentally, in her thinking, a whole. You tell me. I like to hear that reasoning, because I can't see any way, because I don't know how it's possible for a person to listen to things that are so demeaning and degrading and then turn around and be respectful. I don't see it's possible, because even for a guy point of view, I couldn't deal with a female listening to this type of music, because if I try to treat her like she's a lady and she's a decent woman, she's not going to be able to respond to that, because she's listening to music tell her that she's no good. She's a piece of meat. This is a flesh. So it's very difficult. And this is why I've even noticed, and why I find it strange why more pastors don't preach against this. Don't preach against this. Why I always wonder why more pastors don't preach against this, because you could go into churches, especially black churches, and you find it hard to find couples. It's very weird, especially the more liberal the church is. That means the more the black church that has more of that type of music in the church as Christianized version, is the more you find hard to find even young couples that live stable life, that stay long with each other. Like, because it is somehow, if you're in a church and you still listen to that music, somehow the end result is going to be the same. It's weird. And as I say, you could go into black churches, and if they say to you, the rate of marriage amongst black is low, you see it in the black church, it's strange and it's scary, because there's a way that seems right. In the head, it might seem right, it might sound right, because these guys are talking about what's going on in the hood, and somebody say, we have to tell the people, especially because think about it, the people who are buying this music mostly are the white society, and they want to get a little view of what's going on. They don't need to get no view of what's going on. Stop it. I don't see possible to maintain a Christian life and to listen even to this Christian rap. That stuff, because that stuff, the main thing with rap is that and rock and roll, they promote pride. Country and Western is the same thing. Pride. I think nobody should listen to that type of music. Those three type of music, that's just terrible. But, our focus here is rap. So, because there's a way, what it's saying is not going to lead to a positive lifestyle. It's going to lead to a very depressing, demoralizing, guilt-filled, sick lifestyle. And as I say, you go into these churches where these young people are still listening to that music. They live the same lifestyle. You go to these churches, these young girls, they're whores many times in the churches. They can't find a husband. They can't keep a husband because their husband is sick in their heads. or the prospective husbands, or the ones that they already have. And because they're being told day in, sleep with that girl, use that girl, don't pay your child support, don't this, don't do that. That's what it's saying. Somebody saying, but the music don't say that. It does. It does. If you know what you're listening to. I used to listen to that music a lot. So I know what I'm talking about, I think. But if you know something else, as I say, I always open myself to my vulnerability, that I'm open to talk about things that most people won't, because I want to hear from you. Tell me something I'm saying wrong, and I'll correct it here. But I don't see the possibility, because the way is so destructive. I don't see the possibility because, as I say, I've been to so many churches, black churches, and it's hard to find couples. I've even been to churches that I've been there for a while, visiting, preaching, and I'm finding I can't tell who is married. And then somebody will tell me, oh, this is my wife. I'm like, what? I've been coming here so many times, and until you sit on either side of the aisle. If somebody came here and was single, they'll try to hit on one of you. They'll try to think one of you is single. But it's that promotion, that family values is not upholding those music. And to me, this is one of the reasons why the society don't move forward, because you have people perpetuating a kind of slavish existence, because within the slavery system, that was where it was. But I think it's beyond even that, because some people say, oh, because that's a vestige of slavery. I just believe it's beyond that, because in the 50s, blacks married at a higher rate than whites anyhow. So I think that says is the music is part of the problem. It's not just what they talk about Jim Crow of slavery, because blacks used to marry at higher rates. But this music just make, think about a woman listening to that music. Why would anybody want a woman to listen to that music? That's going to tell her that it's okay for me to treat her like a piece of garbage. Why would that be? I want you to think about that. Why would a young man even be able to maintain a good relationship with a female that listens to that music? And especially, as Proverbs chapter 1 says, why would a guy listen to that type of music? He will never know how to be a successful young man in any aspect of his life. Because it's telling him like, hey, look, if you have it hard, do the easy way out. Go pimp your girlfriend, go sell drugs, be disrespectful to authority, don't be a productive citizen, all that type of stuff. Forget about that. You can't follow Christ and listen to that music. I don't see the possibility. So back to our text, Proverbs chapter 16, verse 25, simply says, there is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. And so like with these rappers always shooting up themselves, this has been a story with these guys. It's no surprise. If you're singing about being hard all day long, you're going to act hard. If you watch things that kill people and just massacre people, you're going to go in the streets and shoot people up. That's just the reality. And so that music is not of the Lord, it's of the devil. And you need to encourage anybody you know to get off that madness. So I'm going to read again Proverbs chapter 1 and here, just to close here. So it says, wisdom cried without, and she uttered a voice in the street. She cried in the chief place of the concourse, in the opening of the gates. In the city she uttered her words, saying, how long, ye simple ones, will you love simplicity? And scorners delight in scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Turn at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make you know my words unto you. Because I called and you refused, I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. But ye have set at naught on my counsel and would none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity, and I will mock when your fear cometh. And so when bullets start to fly, when the man come to arrest you and give you 10, 20 years in prison because of those type of lifestyle, say, I'm going to give you life imprisonment. They'll mock at you because they say, look, you were so hard, but now you're going to do 25 years to life. And so simple, God says, turn from that foolish way. Don't live that lifestyle, because a lifestyle is a lifestyle of fools, even though the majority in the society does it. This is why it's so easy for people to get trapped into a lifestyle choice and a lifestyle that is destructive, because the majority does it. Even though that's the reality, still the Bible encourages, break from your culture, break from that destructive lifestyle. Don't live that way, because whoever lived that way they will suffer the consequence. They will live as fools and they'll die as fools and mess up a whole bunch of young people's lives in the process. So God encourages us, don't go in that way that seem right. It's a wicked way. Let's pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, we thank thee again for the blessings of your word. Pray, Father, that you may continue to guide us in your way. I pray, Lord, that you may give us the strength by thy Spirit to break free from these bad habits that bind us, that mess up our lives. Be with us, dear Lord, as we walk humble before thee. And may thy Spirit go with us, we pray, for Christ's sake. Amen. Well, thanks again for listening to me here on Revive Reform Radio. Looking forward to talking to you. We shall do motivation on Monday morning. Until then, I pray that you may continue to walk with the King.